Welcome to episode 7 of the Daily High with Matt McGregor and Tone Vase. It's great to see you, Tone. The market is frustrating me, to say the least. It looks like we're dropping, and that's at least something to talk about here. But we've been essentially consolidating in this pattern for too long. We've got to choose a side here. Are we going up or down? My money's on down at this point, but we'll get into that shortly. Start the show, we always go through the trade from last night. Tone, you might as well show screen share and see how we went on that trade.
All right. Matt, looks like you're switching to my position here on being bearish, but yes. So I am on what looks like the daily chart. Let me just close this so that I have less. 1 second here.
Oh, it looks worse than
Okay.
when we even started the show.
So here's my short-term chart. That's the 4-hour. That's the 1-hour. I remember during yesterday's show, I said that I like the bunching up of these moving averages. Makes it a lot easier to break. We can see how the 1-hour chart just broke them all and then completely collapsed. So right here, I believe you were winning that trade. If I have my float open, there's the blue line right here. So at 2 o'clock in the morning New York time, Matt was winning the trade, but this morning everything completely fell apart. I am up 12% on my P&L with 15x leverage, and this was a positive trade. Next week, this would be increasing my starting capital from 1,000 pretty nicely, actually, by $130. And here's what the hourly chart looks like. So I guess Matt's going to the board, and my dinosaur goes up one.
Yes, it's very sad. I'm off the ears for a second. For the first time. There's a bit of space, Tone. I don't like this. It's 2 consecutive losers in a row for me. I'll go into the charts first of all, because it's much to do about Tone. I need to screen share my friend.
Oh man, there's one thing I always forget with the Zoom session.
That's all right.
Got it.
We all have our blind spots. So let me just check. Last night, I have to apologize to everybody, and it looks like I've done it again here. I've got 2 tabs opened, and I shared the wrong screen last night, and I apologize to everybody. I was stuck on the 4-hour time frame for my whole analysis. So let me just make sure I've done it right. Tone, can you please confirm I'm on the right chart here? You can see my cursor moving?
Yeah.
Great. This is the right chart. Yeah, this is my trade. It was a loser. I lost $38 in the trade. No big deal. But as I'm looking at the 4-hour time frame right now, it's the same. It's the same story for me, except that it's a sad state of affairs. As you say, Tone, earlier today today my time in Australia, when we were moving up, I was feeling quite confident that we were going to kick on from there, and then just like that, it just dissipated and came back down to these lows here, which is not a healthy space to be in. I mean, if we start getting lower, than 41,700, then my 40,420 is in serious risk of getting hit, which I don't want to do. But not all is lost, because ultimately we're in the exact same position that we were in yesterday, the day before, the day before, the day before, the day before. I'm going to go back to the daily time frame for a second, because this is what I was trying to show you last night, but I wasn't screen sharing the right bloody thing. This is what I said.
Matt, I was watching everything you were sharing, and I didn't notice it, though it is kind of early in the morning when we do these streams, but I thought your screen shares were fine, so I'm not sure what you're talking about.
I was on the wrong chart. I was just stuck on the same 4-hour chart while I was explaining the daily and whatever else. I'm new to this, guys. Give me a longer piece of rope for a second. But Tony and I'll be doing this show for 10 years, so I'm sure I'll get better. But this is what I was saying. This is why I'll just reiterate the fact that I said yesterday that 43,661 that I had in here was so crucial to me, and I mentioned that we could come up and retest that but not get above it, and that be the rejection place to come back down. And that's exactly what's happened. Nothing in this structure, if you look at it from an alpha metrics point of view, looks like a buy at this point on the daily time frame. We need to come back above, and I stick to that point, that 43,661, and close above here for me to start feeling really, really confident again about the trades that I entered way, way lower. But I'm not doing anything. I'm sticking to my guns. I'm staying in this trade until this red line is breached. And I mean, I've been saying the same thing at nauseum now, and I apologize for that. There's just nothing else to say for me as a trader. On the daily time frame, it's the same thing.
Weekly.
On the weekly, thank you very much, Tone. You'll go into more detail about this when you do your charting, but I mean, I'm just looking. We're still having, this is, the candle is wrong. Obviously, that should be green. It's still sticking in that no man's land for me. Tone, please give us some insight here on Bitcoin that's more than just the same as yesterday. Rinse and repeat. What do you think, mate?
Yeah, so since I happen to be on a 1 hour time frame, we can start there. What I don't like about the 1 hour time frame is that we are close to these closing lows of the 1 hour time frame, which gets us dangerously close to these lows, which then gets us dangerously close to this low. So the 1 hour time frame is looking a little bit concerning. I'm going to move up to the 4 hour time frame. It looks pretty much the same. The 4 hour time frame has an extra disadvantage of having to consolidate longer in order for the longer term moving average to catch up to it. Once the moving average is bunched together, it becomes, things tend to move, right? So let's put us back over here, back at this stage, right? Back in on the 15th of January on Monday, you still have the longer term moving average. And in case anyone's wondering what these moving averages are, it's our short-term time frame. This is a moving average indicator that uses multiple ones. I am on 20, 50, and 128. You can make it 200. But once you have the longer term moving average still coming down, so more consolidation is needed. And you can see how we rallied into the longer term moving average and then went back down. This time around, they're all bunched together. Now, when they bunch together, there is reason to be optimistic because you can break above all of them and you can turn them all. But there's also reason to be pessimistic because now it can also get rejected from all of them because it's a formidable cluster of moving averages, and then you start to go down. But this is where consolidation tends to end and Bitcoin tends to pick a direction. Unfortunately, if we look at this 1 hour chart over the last 6 hours, the Bitcoin direction has chosen to be to the downside. And I think that's going to be a problem going into the weekend and probably all the way into Monday. I am going to jump right into the weekly chart. For some reason, on my charts, this is a green candle, and it's the same weekly and on the same asset as Matt's chart. But his candle was still showing this little red doji. This is a green candle. We are stuck in a weekly consolidation, and it's the same problem. We can continue to consolidate until at least the short-term moving average, which on a weekly scale for me is the 20-period moving average, catches up to the price. And once it catches up to the price, something is supposed to happen. You can see it right here where the price of the asset, Bitcoin in this case, was dropping into the moving averages, and the moment it hit it, something was going to happen. Either it was going to crash big to the next moving average or rally massively off the moving averages, and we got the rally. And then after the rally, once again, we were consolidating, slightly going down into the moving average, and then here comes the moving average, and then bam, we got to go up big or down big, and we ended up going down big. All right, what about the next time? Again, we consolidate, slowly start to rise into the moving averages. And what happens after that? Bam, we break them both and we break out big. And now here we are in this massive consolidation, which has a lot longer to go because look how far away we are from the next moving average. But once we consolidate or maybe slightly go down into this moving average, over the next 3 to 4 weeks, we're going to catch up to it. And then something is going to happen. Either we're going to crash down into the next level of moving averages, or we're going to rally hard off of those moving averages. So this is why this is going to be a bit of a frustrating market, potentially for weeks on weeks, right? So maybe these videos will be a little bit on the shorter side until something happens. Now, what about the allocation chart? The allocation chart is in a pretty nasty red candle. I really should lower this lower from 70% down all the way down to 50%. I'm going to give it one more day. Tomorrow is Friday. I'll give it one more day to maybe come up with some kind of a miracle, but I doubt it. My personal position is still 75% cash, and the other 25% has mostly been converted from GBTC into a more respectable, more professional ETF, which happens to be BlackRock at this point. But to me, it looks like Valkyrie and Fidelity are a decent competition. I'm still keeping the spreadsheet. This was tweeted out by Financial Summit last night. I need to put an average here so I can kind of gauge it. I moved up Valkyrie up my list because they are getting some volume. They're holding a decent amount of Bitcoin. And you can see how GBTC is dropping the number of Bitcoin they're holding. This is probably putting selling pressure. The question is GBTC selling more Bitcoin than the rest of these guys buying? That is a math that can probably be done. I didn't keep track on how much they're selling while others are buying day by day, but it definitely is an interesting, comparison to keep an eye on. Hey guys, follow the Financial Summit Twitter channel because later today we're gonna have an awesome Twitter space. Join us at I believe 3 p.m. Eastern. The Twitter space was just tweeted out. Joe Colasari is going to be joining. We might have another special guest. I got to see if I can get that done by 3 p.m. But please join us on the Financial Summit Twitter spaces at 3 p.m. today. And here is the daily chart. Now, the daily chart fell. It got ahead of its moving averages. It fell into the moving averages, consolidating with the moving averages. They are about to be jointly together, which again makes it easier to break them both. But this is not a great daily candle. From the daily perspective, Matt, when you were looking at the daily candle, there's a little dot right here. There's two of them. I know it's hard to see. These are the Lucid SARs. So this is where Matt's little red line was. It was right at this dot. So Matt's trade on a daily scale is bullish as long as it stays above this red line. Now, for me personally, this is way too far away from the areas that I find super concerning. Now, for me on a daily scale, I need to move this all the way up to at least the bottom of this channel that I had drawn. But realistically, I'm going to bring it up even more because if the daily chart starts trading below the prior swing lows, I am dangerously close to my other swing lows, and then I am dangerously close to breaking it all down, and I'm so far away from the moving averages. So for me personally, while I am already bearish on a very short-term scale, I'm still hopefully bullish, well, like with hope and praying that the daily chart still has the ability to reverse. The MRI has not yet flipped. I already had my one red candle where we went and closed below the prior swing low. So this had me very concerned. I am almost as equally concerned here. Sorry, guys, I had to sneeze, but muted in time. I'm equally as concerned here, but we still have a little bit of room. So I am even getting very, very close to being bearish on a daily chart. I just need another price flip on the MRI plus a red star candle. But my concerning line is significantly closer to current price than Matt's.
Can we talk about that for a second? Because this is a very, very interesting point about the difference in trading styles. I got long a lot earlier than you did, and I don't want to get out of that position. I do not want to get out of that position ever. If I stay in this position for 10 years, I'm happy. It's not going to happen. So my giving this position a little bit more breathing room is fine for me. It's absolutely fine for the way that I trade. I can see exactly what you're saying, and I can't disagree with it. But I've so many times in the past seen that exactly that point where you put that red line in prior, it would be the point of reversal as well to get it up for another week or two, which would raise my point. Like we might end up getting out at the same point 2 weeks apart. And that's the ironic part of it. So I don't want to get out of this position. I'm 100% locked and loaded. I just don't want to get out. But I do have a point where I will give up on the position, that it's not just at the bottom of a making a new swing low or something like that. It's something more technical that I've built here. What are your thoughts on that, Ton?
That is a great point, and I've said something very similar when I always talk about the S&P, and I'll reiterate. Here is the S&P weekly, and I remember I was being very, very adamant about everyone thought it was 1929 all over again when the stock market was dropping in 2022, basically the entire year, and it was down over 25% going into October. I was screaming that the stock market is going to turn around in October. The stock market historically turns around in October. October is one of the greatest months for the stock market. October was reaching a weekly MRI right in the middle of October. It was reaching a historical upwards trend line within a channel from all the way back from 2009 that I've had this channel. And the only time it was ever broken was during COVID, which was a little bit manufactured on the lockdowns and stuff. And I was adamant to be bullish here and long. Now, the same scenario happened. When this bullish trade, I was a little bit concerned over here in March of 23, but because I was perfectly long from the very bottom, I held through this. And then the same thing happened back here in 2023 going down into October. Again, everyone thought it was 1929 all over again, and we're going to fall 50%. And while this situation looked bad, it never took out the prior lows. And I was saying the same thing when people were asking me, Tone, why are you still bullish the S&P? Why are you still bullish the S&P? And my answer was because my entry point was here, right? Well, like obviously, if your entry point was up here, because you didn't believe it for an entire year that the market was going to reverse and go to new all-time highs, you are in a serious losing position and you have to cut your losses. But I don't need to do that because I'm still in a profitable trade and I still believe in that bullish trade. So when you enter has so much to do with it. And this goes back to what I've been saying the entire time I've been educating people on how to trade. Try not to follow other traders, because you're not going to get in at the same time as them. You don't have the same risk elements as them. And you don't believe in the trades like they do because they enter those trades for a reason. And this is why I've always encouraged people to come up with their own trading systems that they trust, that they believe in, because you will never be as confident in someone else's entries. And you're never going to enter at the same time. And when you try to pre-run them, and then they don't end up making the trade, but you do, you end up in a worse situation. So Matt is absolutely right. A lot has to do with when you got in.
Mate, that was so eloquently put. And I agree with it's blown my mind how beautifully you said that. I agree implicitly. And even the way I built alphanumerics, every single aspect of alphanumerics is completely customizable. And I never preach that these are the SMAs or EMAs you want to use. These are any criteria. It's completely, I encourage completely to find something to tailor it. I think it's got everything you need in alphanumerics, but you tailor it the way that you have backtested and you believe in, because you are putting your fucking money in these trades and you have to stand by it and feel comfortable with it. I trust it implicitly on the default settings. But you might not. And Tone, you perfectly put it, mate. You perfectly put it.
The good news is that this morning the stock market is rallying a bit and Bitcoin is still down a bit. So Bitcoin has a chance. Once the stock market opens in about an hour and a half, we could see Bitcoin rally a little bit with the stock market. We do have a few questions about some Bitcoin-related stocks. I was actually looking at BlackRock stock the other day. We forget that a lot of these companies, they are companies as well. Like BlackRock has the ETF, but what about BlackRock itself? Is the company doing well? And you can tell how the company is doing from their stock. Here's the weekly chart of BlackRock. BlackRock stock has actually rallied massively since early October. It's been a huge winner, 36%. Maybe this has something to do with the Bitcoin ETF. Maybe it does not. But BlackRock, just broke a 2-year high. So I'm sure BlackRock is very happy that they are the leaders and the most liquid Bitcoin ETF because it's driving their stock. And this is another thing I was saying for all those people that continue to listen to gloom and doomers. It's not going to take long for BlackRock to hold Bitcoin on their own portfolio like MicroStrategy. I mean, if the BlackRock Bitcoin ETF is getting more attention and talked about and more assets backing it than all their other ETFs combined, BlackRock senior management will start taking Bitcoin seriously. And there will be no reason why they won't have Bitcoin on the books, just like MicroStrategy. And what about all the other financial companies? And eventually, Jamie Dimon's going to be replaced by someone younger who may understand Bitcoin. So sooner or later, almost every company inside the S&P 500 might hold actual Bitcoin on their balance sheet. They may not hold it themselves like Fidelity. They may hold it through Coinbase custody, but they will have Bitcoin, backing their company. And that's another reason why S&P 500 can skyrocket to ridiculous all-time highs if every company is holding Bitcoin that is rising against the US dollar. So speaking of companies with lots of Bitcoin on their books, let's go and take a look at the MicroStrategy stock, MSTR. And a lot of people are saying that MSTR is now worth less in their stock than Bitcoin on their books. This might mean that MSTR is undervalued. There was a big drop in MicroStrategy. I believe that's because Michael Saylor decided to sell some stock. That he doesn't want to sell the Bitcoin that the company is holding. He's selling stock. Actually, MicroStrategy fell to a beautiful support level. I wouldn't, and at $500, beautiful round number, still way above Matt's Alphanumetrics green wave area, way above my MRI support area. And where are we? We're still way above the Lucid SAR area.
Check out the daily. Tone, check out the daily on
daily.
the. Yes, please. You'll love this.
Oh my God, what a beautiful. Why didn't anyone tell me this yesterday? Holy shit. So there's going to be educational videos on this channel as well. Those of you that do end up going to the tonevase.com and you go to products and services and check out my on-demand videos, especially the TA education right here, TA and position risk management. The reason I bring that up is because I specifically teach my method of entering trades off of dojis like this. This is incredible. You have an MRI bottom, a buying opportunity. It doesn't always mean a buy, but a buying opportunity off the MRI with a doji candle. The way I enter these trades is I wait for the following candle to start trading above the doji. Worst case scenario, above the body or somewhere in between. So to me, there was certainly a bullish trade on the table yesterday with MSTR. I did not see it. Had I paid attention, had I seen it, man, that would have been absolutely nice. And right now, of course, I'm bullish. For now, is just a 1 to 4 candle correction. In this case, the correction is to the upside. And then we reevaluate the situation. Hopefully, it goes for more than 1 to 4 candles higher and goes all the way up to an MRI top. Here you had 2 consecutive, but they weren't exactly consecutive. There was a flip in between them. That's why you have a 1 and a 1 instead of a 1 and a 2. And that's what I mean. An MRI top could be a selling event, and then you get back in on a green star. An MRI top is a selling event. You can get back in on a green star and add more on a green star and add more on a green star. And every time you get a green star, you can add a little bit more to your position until eventually the red star takes you out of the trade. And
Mate, if just looking at micro strategies right now, if we continue with further downside here, but maintain the market structure and keep the wave green, in this is alphanumerics talking. Let's just say we come down and touch your MRI support and resistance green dots there down at the bottom inside the wave there. That will be a nearly 43% retracement from all-time high, and will maintain the green wave, and we'll get somewhere in that vicinity a daily green diamond as well. I'd be interested in MicroStrategies at that point.
let's talk about that retracement. So there's MicroStrategy on a weekly. I don't use Fibonacci's often, but when I do, I'm going to go from the ultimate swing high down to the ultimate swing low. And we rejected at the 50% point this time around, right? Now, as you guys know, I don't like the 50% point, okay? I'm not a fan of the 50% Fibonacci line. Now, here, we got rejected from the 62% Fibonacci line, which is also not an area I expect us to go to new lows. But at the time, it would have looked like this. So you also have to look at it in real time. In real time, looks like the Fibonacci also got rejected by the MRI resistance line and the 50% Fibonacci line. 50% is exactly what it means to me, 50-50. I expect this 38% rejection take us to new lows. We did make it to 50. We're lowering the percentage of going to new lows, but that percentage is still there. Now, if I zoom this out, and we are going to get Fiboswani on the show in a few weeks to talk about all these markets. And now we're rejecting at the 50% Fibonacci again. The last time it took us to new lows, I don't believe it will this time. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this thing. We're going to go from down to up, from the lowest level down to the highest level. And I want to see where we are. We have pulled back just under that 38. And I like it here. I like this 38. I like it as support in order for us to reverse and now go to new highs. So I do like MicroStrategy here at this level.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's not a buy yet. Even though like on the daily 9 was bloody brilliant, and especially while the wave is green, but I'd still be looking for a buy off a daily green diamond while the wave is green. I'd be bloody keen in MicroStrategies at that point.
Yeah, I would already I would already be comfortable going long here, and I have a defined stop loss, and this defined stop loss is amazing. It's literally just below the swing low of Wednesday's low.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the beauty of it. If we hit that, if we crash through that, you close the position, and then you start to look further ahead. You might look for the daily green diamond at that point. You know, that's the perfect point. Yeah.
Exactly. If we end up knocking out this low, I then look for a better buying opportunity closer to the MRI support line inside the green wave off the green diamond. But if another way to trade this position is, well, you're never supposed to double down losing positions. That's my rule number 1, unless you purposely put in less money into your original trade with the plan to double down in case X happens. So another way to do it is to make your trade a little bit smaller and then set your stop loss all the way down here because the green wave will continue to rise even as the price is dropping. So you can drop your stop loss somewhere here, giving you the ability to double down later on.
Yeah, that's great, man, and I believe it totally too. If you just zoom out a bit and you look at the on the weekly time frame and go to the MicroStrategies, well, just what you finish off, my strategy is the same. The first green diamond will get you 50% long, and then the second 50% will be allocated either at are you on the weekly time frame there? Just on the weekly, mate?
I'm on a daily, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The first 50% will be allocated on the first green diamond. The second 50% will be on the second green diamond, or when the wave turns green, if there's not a second green diamond. So we picked up both. You're on reverse there, but they're in the same general vicinity. You would have been 100% long right down there on micro strategies. Would have been a great buy.
We're being informed that there's a green diamond on a 4-hour scale, but I will add, the 4-hour scale is not a time scale I use on stocks.
Me
Stocks
too.
trade 7 hours a day. Using a 4-hour scale on an asset that trades 7 hours a day is not something that I do. The 4-hour on a stock market is equivalent to, say, a 1-hour. A 1-hour on the stock market is equivalent to a 4-hour on Bitcoin. And now if I look at an hourly chart of MicroStrategy, that one is better for me. And you see the green diamond happening with a
But
green
there's
star candle. But again, I
it's
have the
yeah,
reverse green
it's
diamond.
that's right. That's right. But it doesn't
Not,
matter. There's I don't
yeah.
I don't look at the daily and the 4 hour on stocks, man. They're just
Well, you mean the
no.
hourly. You mean the hourly, right?
Hourly or 4 hour. I don't use them. But if it works, it works. But I don't use them.
Yeah, if I drop the reverse, the green diamond
It's too
actually
soon.
happens way up here. Okay.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, see, this is why I like the reverse.
Yeah, but I mean it's a 1 hour time frame on a
Right.
stock that I wouldn't use. It's I
This
don't
is why I
would
like the
never
reverse.
use that.
I do use the 1 hour on the stock market. And while this candle was certainly scary, but that is the opening candle of a new day. And there is a certain way to trade the gaps, which I also teach in those courses. There was an MRI buy on the hourly. There was a green star on the hourly. There's a green diamond on the hourly. Everything is looking good. But yes, like on the stock market, I'm mostly daily, weekly, and then I jump all the way down to 10 minutes. The
Mm.
hourly or anything else is not. I'm either using a 10-minute chart to really time my trades with inside the day. I can even go all the way down to a 5-minute chart if I want to time my trade. But all decisions on stock markets are made on daily and weekly charts.
That's funny because I'm predominantly monthly on stocks because I'm not trading them. I'm investing in them for a long time. So that's I look at a different time frame completely.
All right, we also need to look at BITF. BITF has been dropping big lately. And again, these Bitcoin ETFs are sucking the liquidity out of other Bitcoin proxies. So I'm not surprised that Bitfarms is dropping. Bitfarms, just like MicroStrategy, is coming up on an amazing support area of $2.10. It may not get there. We will see how Bitcoin does. It looks like Bitfarms already started to turn. I would love to see a daily MRI buy around $2.10. And I'm already in a couple of spread trades that are somewhat delta neutral, so I'm doing okay. But I would prefer to go up. I got plenty of time on my options all the way past the halving. And I do think that Bitfarms is going to turn around here somewhere from this area, hopefully with an MRI bottom. Okay. And I believe that's it, unless there are any other questions. Not much to say on those Bitcoin ETFs, mostly because they just haven't traded enough days to give us any relevant information. I mean, the MRI is still going to take another 2 weeks before being useful. It's still coming back with zeros across the board. So only GBTC, and GBTC is bleeding underlying Bitcoin like there's no tomorrow. People really are exiting, but now they can keep it pegged to the underlying Bitcoin. So they're just massively selling the underlying Bitcoin. That is, of course, contributing to the overall sell pressure on the Bitcoin as all these other ETFs are buying up Bitcoin. So it's a very, very interesting dynamic. It'll probably take the rest of the month, maybe into next month, for it to kind of balance itself out.
Yeah, great, mate. Great. All right, well, let's wind up this show. While Bitcoin is consolidating, it doesn't look good. Why don't you go ahead and if you like, I'll go first and put my trade on. You went first last night, so if you want to
I
give me
did
back,
go first last night, but hold on. Before you do your trade,
all
before you
right.
say anything, I want to open up my chart so I can decide what my trade is. This is going to be another 24-hour trade. And this is going to be interesting which way we go. So Matt, I'm going to stop my screen share so I can put in my numbers. Why don't you go first? I'm going to open up float on my end. And wait, where did it go on this? This is my, oh, sorry, this is my daily chart. My bad. Hold on. Here, this should
Just to
be my
confirm, Tone, can
daily.
you see my mouse? Can you see my mouse moving?
Wait, I'm not looking. I do not see your mouse moving.
Thank you. I have to sort this out tomorrow. Forgive me. How about now? Can you see my mouse moving?
I do see your mouse moving, yes. So weekly
Awesome.
chart.
Perfect. All right, let's go into float.
People are asking what float is. Guys, float just basically shows you this. Like if you just enter a trade, enter some parameters of a trade, it'll just, just keep track for you right there on the screen. It doesn't actually execute any trades for you.
It's just I use it. I built this indicator because I wanted to know exactly what my positions would look like over the top of my trading view charts. So I made this and it's for sale. I'll probably lower the price, so don't buy it now. It doesn't have any value to most people, but for serious traders who want to see what trades look like over their charts prior to entering the trade, and they can simulate what leverage would use. It's a leverage calculator. I think it's invaluable. I use it every single day, but some people, it's not very popular. It's not like alphanumerics. All right, let's go. 42, the price, we'll do 42,388 is our price tone. And
okay.
Yep. And we're doing, I'm going to stick with 5x leverage long, 42,388. I haven't given up. I think the stock market recovery, I think the charts look terrible, and I'm going against my better judgment because the charts look terrible, but we're still in the buy zone. We could easily recover from this, although I'm not super confident. Tone, go ahead, man. I can see
Okay,
you
so I'm
smiling
gonna
at
I'm
me.
gonna go straight to screen share, and you're gonna see my flow parameter already in there. So I'm gonna have to explain this. I am also going long, even though I am kind of bearish on Bitcoin right now. And I put in 11x leverage, thinking that your last trade was 5x, and maybe you were gonna up it to 10x, and I wanted to be slightly more leveraged since I did expect you to go long. I'm also going long. Now, the reason why I'm going long is I do think the price of Bitcoin is going to go down. But because this is a 24-hour trade, you can see my hourly chart in the background. 42,388 is correct, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is because that I think while if I put in a 1-hour chart, and I was looking at a 1-hour chart near the screen, is because for some reason I have this feeling, and we're not supposed to trade on feelings, that even though we're going to drop, we're going to still rally into this declining cluster of moving averages. So I do think that tomorrow morning we're going to be at a higher price, and we're really going to take a bit of a nosedive over the weekend. It's just that while I am bearish, I think that in exactly 24 hours from now, I think the price is going to be slightly higher off of a rebound sometime late tonight.
It's absolutely hilarious that this is the assumption you came to, because it's absolutely the assumption I came to as well. And what I can't wait for next week when we start actually counting P&L, because that's why I went 5%, because I'm not confident. I could have gone 99%. But anyway, we'll see what happens tomorrow. If now I'm hoping for the price to drop and crash to zero so I can win this fucking competition.
Yeah, when we start cumulatively adding P&Ls, it's going to create a completely different dynamic to the game.
It'll add a huge dynamic to the game because we'll be so conservative. And Tone had a great rule. No. So somebody emailed me today. Forrest, if you're watching, Forrest, thank you for the email.
Oh, Forrest is great. Forrest, shout out, man. I actually I know Forrest. I've met him in Asia.
Ah, fantastic, man. He sent me a great few addendums to the rule that somebody can do a non-trade. They can say, today I'm not confident, I'm not trading. Okay. And then you can go long or short and win. But me, by not trading, made my position not grow or not shrink for the day if I'm unconfident.
Well, this is also why I was gonna factor in take profit and stop loss, where you could, stop your trade at a certain point and then it gets locked in at that moment.
Yeah, actually, Forrest mentioned that to me as well, and I don't want to do that because this is a simulator. I'd have to do the mathematics live on air, and I'm prone to probably fucking that up. But anyway, thank you so much for the show today. It's been an absolute joy to bring it to you. We can't wait to see you again same time tomorrow. If anyone's in Adelaide tomorrow going to the cricket, I think the cricket will be finished in about 35 minutes. Tony, you don't know anything about cricket, but it's supposed to be a 5-day game with about 8 hours a day. But Australia's too good, and we're playing a really shit team. So I've already bought tickets. I'm going, but the game will probably be over in 10 minutes. So if anyone's at the cricket in Adelaide, give me a shout out. You'll see me.
All right, and we are going to be doing Twitter Spaces at 3 p.m. Matt, you want to give any other shout outs? Anything else people should sign up for?
Yeah, mate, definitely. Please go down below in the description. You'll see our links to 2bit and BitGet exchanges. They're fantastic exchanges. I use 2bit every single day from my live trading. We're going to be bringing you bots in the future, which are only accessible with those two exchanges. And that's going to be the most exciting thing this side of, Australia winning the cricket.
All right. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you all tomorrow morning. Well, US time, nighttime over in Australia. Bye, guys.
Yeah, like and subscribe. How do you say it, Tone? Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe and share.
Thanks, guys. See you later.